Hi guys, welcome to class. So let's discuss classification of microorganisms. Now, of course, you know that classification of microorganisms. Yeah. So now microorganisms generally, the classification of microorganisms reflects that they come from different classes of organisms, showing variation in their lifestyle, and variation not only in their lifestyle, their growth and development, their means of living, their means of feeding, means of reproduction, means of excretion. But one thing is common to them all: they are all so tiny, so minute that they cannot be seen with the aid of a naked eye. You still require to view them. You require that scientific instrument which we refer to as the microscope. So generally you can just classify them into bacteria, virus. You can classify them into protozoa, protodenzoa. You can also classify them into fungi, and touch it up with algae. Although there's still argument over this guy, because scholars believe that we shouldn't classify virus as a living thing itself, in that outside the body of a host cell it cannot reproduce itself until it gets into the body of an host, where it will take over the cell mechanism and reproduce itself. In fact, outside the body of an host, it's more like it just aggregates as crystals, you understand? And the structure itself is not even denoting structure of a living thing. Basically just has a protein called the capsid. It has nuclear material which could be RNA or DNA, but not both. Please note that virus has a nuclear material which can be RNA or DNA, but can never be both. And so you have this protein called the capsid, made up of substructures called capsomes surrounding the virus, and there you go, you have the virus. So some scholars in the field of science believe, first of all, it's not a very living thing. Now, going further to classify it as a microorganism, they feel it's out of place. But it's still a microorganism, so we can still add it up right there. And you have your protozoa as well. Now, the protozoa, majorly you see that parasites are mostly found in this class. And they are eukaryotes, which make them different from bacteria, because there's still this confusion about, is bacteria a parasite? Well, the classic definition of parasites is that they are eukaryotes. Bacteria, on the other hand, is a prokaryote. When I mean prokaryote, I mean a single-celled organism that does not have a definite nucleus. Now, in fact, the word prokaryote comes from the Greek word, which means before nucleus. Now, protozoa, you have most of the parasites here. And then, of course, commonly, that's where you find your plasmodium. Remember, your plasmodium is the causative agent of malaria. So, now your protozoa is more like a subkingdom. Some describe it as a subkingdom. You have some phylums under it. You have the phylum Sarcomastigophora, Apicomplexa, and of course you have the phylum Sarcodina as well. So, or you have the Celiophora, phylum Celiophora, because the Apicomplexa is also called the Sarcodina. So that's where you have your amoeba, the amoeba species. Amoeba is Solitica, Naviera, Fowleri. You have a host of them like that. You also have your Trypanosome, Brucei, as well as your Plasmodium, Vivax, Ovale, and your Balantidium coli. All those are classified under protozoa. So a protozoa is a eukaryotic unicellular organism, while you say bacteria is a prokaryotic unicellular organism. Most of the parasites form this group of organisms which we refer to as the protozoa, the single-celled organism. Remember when we did that taxonomy, I told you that under the kingdom Animalia, under the kingdoms rather, the protozoa was given his own kingdom. And then of course you have the fungi, which are saprophytic organisms, and then they could be unicellular. If they are unicellular, we call them yeast. They could be multicellular, we call them molds, and they are very similar to the eukaryotes. In just the difference is that their cell wall, the fungi, contains of chitin. So you have a cell wall made up of chitin, and in case of bacteria, the cell wall is made up of moraine, a peptidoglycan matrix. I also have the algae, which always forms symbiotic relationship with the fungi. So all these generally are just the classification of the microorganisms. What is common to them? They can only be viewed with the aid of a microscope, and then we'll be looking at bacteria in details in our subsequent class. Because why? Bacteria is ubiquitous. And what I mean by ubiquitous is everywhere. See you in the next class.